Da 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 da! It's the effects loop doing Star Wars. Da 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 da! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! All right, so welcome to the effects loop. I'm Diaz,
I'm Chris.
I'm Scott.
and we're keeping you in the loop of the Star Wars community.
Oof. Hard no.
Just play the music there. At least I said it like a question. Like I didn't like. It wasn't definitive. I wasn't even sure.
strong. We have to just keep pushing along.
Do I have to do the song again? Okay. All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by Westminster Effects. Go check them out. WestminsterEffects.com. They've got amazing pedals. One of my favorites that I've absolutely been digging has been the Dually. That thing has not left my board. It's two Blues Breaker style pedals in one enclosure, so we all know what we're hinting at, but we're not going to totally rip it off. Zone of tone. So
I got an idea. What if we bought dualies, took them and put them in a different enclosure, and charged $100 more?
Dual Fs. That's what it would be. We just change the name a little bit. Okay, all right. We're getting way off topic, which we're not even going to be on topic this episode. All right, go check them out. They've got amazing, cool stuff. They've got a lot of it is people who are pretty big in the Reformed community. Am I correct, Scott?
There are a number, yes.
There are quite a few, like Edwards and Piper and all that. I've got
There's
a Piper
Kelvin
drive
compressor. There's a Luther tap tremolo. There's
I've got one of those.
Augustine boost. I'm going
know.
strictly from
Who's
memory
that?
right now.
Who's
Saint
that? Who's
Augustine.
Augusta? Oh, I guess.
All right.
Augusta.
Augustine.
All right, yeah, but check
Not
it out. It's
Augusta.
really cool.
Augustine.
Awesome. St. Augustine. That's actually a city in Florida. I know that.
Yeah, he named it after the city in Florida. That was the.
That's what he got his name from, the city
Yep.
in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you checked out the Exegete yet, though? That's their new one that just came out, and it's
No.
based on Ex Pandora circuit, which is something that really came into vogue in the last couple of years again.
Yeah, no, that looks really cool. I want to mess with that. All right, let's get on topic, which is off topic, but I'm really excited to talk about this. All right, so but if you're listening right now and you have not seen Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, stop listening and come back after you've seen it. If you don't care, listen to it anyways, because it's gonna be absolutely hilarious. Because Scott and I are probably just gonna argue, and Chris is gonna be like, "Yeah, okay," because that's what happens. And then,
Just pull a Oscar and be like, actually.
well, actually, it's pronounced espresso. Oh wait, that's how you say it. Actually, but if you haven't, come back, listen to it after you've seen it, and you can hear us talk about it. I know a lot of people have gone and seen it. They've already done like 376 million, and their budget was like 300 million. So they're kicking butt.
Oh, I
I don't know how.
They did 376. Wow, that's really good.
Well, that's okay. That's the box office total on Wikipedia as of right now. You can get more. That was achieved December 23rd, 2019, which is today. Oh, and if you're listening to this, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for letting us in your house on Christmas Day. We're like a weird group of Santa Clauses. Should probably release this before Christmas, so that's less awkward. All right,
No.
so what we're gonna do? We're gonna talk about what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we're gonna listen to Scott tear it apart and try to pick it apart, and me defend it. It's pretty much the way it's gonna go. So everyone here seen it, correct? Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Yes. All right. So let's just kind of go into it. I figured we'll just kind of follow the plot line and talk about it. So following a mysterious galaxy-wide broadcast by a supposedly deceased Emperor Palpatine, Kylo Ren obtains a Sith Wayfinder device, leading him to the broadcast source on the planet Exegol. Wait, no, that's way off. Where's the beginning part? Was that it? Oh yeah,
that's literally
Yeah,
the
that was
beginning. I
pretty
mean,
good.
he's like killing
Okay,
a dude, grabbing the thing.
No, well, I forgot about the kill. I was like, I thought they named the planet that he was killing those things on.
Did they ever
he
name
was
that?
no, they didn't. But
No.
he was kicking some ass. He was like Anakin Skywalker with some younglings, man. He's just it was great.
Like he was murdering folks, but like
He straight up murder, like not even, and he was barely breaking a sweat. He was just like walking.
I was gonna
towards
say
it, and
he was way more like actually like punching dudes than
Yeah.
like Vader Rogue One style.
So the really cool thing, one thing that I've absolutely loved with the sequels, is that they've just brought the saber battling to like a whole new level, and they've really gotten good about mixing the saber with force moves, which I felt like
that did happen this time. That was really cool.
it was, especially between Rey and Ben, or Rey and Kylo. Like, do you see that throughout the movie? They're using a lot of force moves while saber dueling, which I think has been really great.
Which there was like none of that in the prequels outside of like lightning.
Yeah, it was very empty in that area.
I will still say I think the best saber fight ever is Episode 1.
Was that whenever
Darth
Yoda
Maul.
jumped around like a little booger?
No, Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan. I think that really holds up well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, the guy who played Darth Maul, he's actually a stunt guy,
Yeah.
I believe. And then he ended up getting that part, and he went and did X-Men. He played Toad in X-Men.
Yep.
And he even, if you ever seen the movie Fanboys, which was absolutely hilarious, he was in that as well. He did a little cameo. He was one of the security guards at the end. He was the one, and he actually had I think he had like almost like the Darth Maul saber thing using batons. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was a really good fight. I'd have to say though, out of all of them, some of the best fights I think have been in the sequels.
The throne room scene in the second movie was really good. I don't really remember any of the saber fighting in Force Awakens. Like I remember it happened, but like nothing of it was that memorable to me.
No, there was very little in the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there was some towards the end, but that was the whole thing of Rey hadn't actually trained yet.
No, but she did like the osmosis absorption thing from Kylo Ren by that point.
Mm-hmm.
Which she's not a Mary Sue. That's how she got her like Force knowledge. Is when she soul bonded with Kylo, she got all his training like embedded in her. That's the explanation for it.
Huh. Okay.
Am I giant? I think I have now out nerded everybody.
You out nerded me there. I'll give you that.
So
That was pretty
Palpatine's
good.
back.
Yep. Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
And
So
Snoke
was
is in a
interesting.
jar.
Well, it's just weird. It's crazy that Snoke was created as a puppet.
That was
Like
that was theorized.
did
Yeah.
someone actually use that have that as a theory?
Yeah, because Snoke had this like giant ring on his hand, and people were like, "That's like a dark side energy crystal ring kind of thing," and so people
Okay.
were like, "Oh, maybe he's a like pawn, or like
Well-
the real Snoke didn't die." That was like one of the thoughts of like that was like a stand-in body for Snoke, not a real one.
Well, I was kind of hoping that they were going to go with some of the canon stuff where like Palpatine had cloned himself.
Like Dark
And-
Empire style, or like
Well, that's still a theory too, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know but like I was kind of hoping maybe he like cloned himself and like Snoke was like a clone that got jacked up or something, like someone scrambled eggs a little too much. But that was definitely one of the theories that I kind of went with. One of the weirdest theories, and I kind of I figured there's almost no way for it to be possible, but I was kind of thinking, man, that would be pretty cool. Is I actually heard that there was a theory that Snoke was Mace Windu.
Oh yeah, I heard that one.
I never
Because
heard that one.
yeah, I heard that one and I was like, that would be pretty cool, but it wasn't great.
I mean, I'm
it
not.
wouldn't-
I'm not. It's one of
It
those
wouldn't
things
have
of
been
like.
amazing.
Let's just. I'll give my overall like thing here is like I've only seen the movie once. You've seen it like 3 times
I've seen
now.
it three times now. Yeah,
Chris, you're once.
For what? Seeing it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, just once.
Okay. So the first time experience was like drinking from a fire hose. Right? Like there's just so much stuff crammed into this movie and it just goes so fast and you don't get really any
Yeah.
time to breathe.
well,
And
that's
so
a fantastic thing to the movie too. This is almost every Star Wars has that drag period.
Mm-hmm.
This one
Last
didn't.
Jedi
This one,
definitely had that.
Last Jedi had it. Force Awakens kind of had it a little bit. I mean, even the original trilogy had that. Those few, that little bit of time towards the middle of the movie where you're just like, okay, how much is left in this movie? I saw it 3 times. I knew when it was going to end, and I half the time I'd be like, holy crap, we're at the end already.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, this movie did a great job of moving forward.
So it crams so much in, and like that's a big critique that's out there. Is a lot of people are like, "This is 2 movies worth of stuff in one."
I mean, but that's a bargain. You're only having to buy one ticket.
Yeah. So
Damn, people.
here's where I'm just at on that is like we know how Star Wars works, where there's just all the spin-off content, and once
Yes.
all the spin-off content happens, you kind of come back to the original with a different appreciation. So like, I would say like. To the prequels, once the Clone Wars TV show happened, you come back and you're like, oh, I get more of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like I never really liked Mace Windu in the movies, but like you see, like
What?
I know. Hang on, like
I'm a
the
Jedi,
char-
motherfucker.
All right,
Come
yeah,
on,
there's that.
That's what I'm talking about.
But like once you really dive into like you watch the Clone Wars series, you have a different appreciation of like how powerful he is and how unique he is, all that kind of stuff. Whereas like
Yeah.
it's just kind of like told to you and you just accept it in the movies. Once you go through all the side content, I'm curious how I'm going to like think of this movie once I've had time to like absorb all the side stuff. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
Yeah, it does.
That's like Disney's doing a really good thing with expanding the cinematic universe in this. I mean, with all the spin-off movies. I mean, you got The Mandalorian out right now, or releasing.
Which actually
And-
had a tie into this movie too.
Somebody
haven't
explain
watched
to me
epi-
what that was.
haven't-
Well, there's two things.
Diaz, earmuff for
sorry.
the next 30 seconds. Go.
Hey, hold on. I haven't seen the most recent episode. I think I've seen through episode 6. I haven't seen episode 7 yet. Would this ruin anything in episode 7?
Oh, episode 7's good.
Yes.
All right.
It's not a major plot thing, but
Is it force healing? Is that what you're all concerned with?
Oh
Because
my
that was
God.
hinted at like
Yes.
episode
Oh.
2.
Yeah. No, force healing already happened in the show.
So it's not a spoiler.
okay.
Baby Yoda has force healing.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how they introduced it to the canon for the universe, for the movie universe at least, because it's been in the video games at least for a while, but not in the actual canon for the movies.
Even then, I want to point out this though. He's not Baby Yoda. Okay,
I know, but we don't have a name for it yet.
it's the
The
child.
child. All right, whatever.
That's it. It's the child.
The internet has spoken, Diaz. It's Baby Yoda.
This is the way.
Oh my gosh, I have spoken. All right, go ahead and all right. Let's just move on.
Okay,
the
so
movie.
with all this,
okay,
bit jarring that it's just like, boom, Palpatine's back.
yeah, and then he what announces? Doesn't he show the Star
He
Destroyers?
apparently puts like a radio signal out to the whole, like makes
Yeah.
an announcement that he's there or something like that, and then Kylo goes and like pursues him. So I think
Right.
that could be like spin-off content. That would be an interesting story, and then like once I have that, jumping back into the movie might be more interesting.
I think what would be really cool is if they need to do a Palpatine movie. Is that something that they've planned?
I don't know if we
I
need
don't think
movies.
so.
I actually tend to like the TV shows better because it lets things just kind of dwell.
Yeah,
I
or
think
maybe
with
they, yeah,
Palpatine, like an animated show would probably work better.
no, if they do, they need to do like just a Sith show. Like just talking about the history of the like Darth Plagueis, all that stuff. That would be really cool.
I mean, they did the book, but yeah.
I understand they did a book. I don't want to read.
Then that's what YouTube exposition videos are for.
Or I can just all right. But I want to see pretty colors. Okay, so let's keep moving. He gets to Exegol, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a BA and I'm still here, and Snoke's a puppet and he didn't matter." So and then he like shows him a whole big ass group of Star Destroyers that come out of the ground. So number one, why are we keeping them in the ground?
Was that ground or water?
I thought it was ground.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't tell if it was like supposed to be ice or not either.
Okay, but even then, why are these people just hanging out in the ground or underwater? Like, are they just sitting there the whole time, just like, all right, guys, any day now?
Well, you gotta
they
think it's
weren't
only
crewed,
been 30
right?
years. What?
Were those Star Destroyers weren't crewed though. They made a comment about that later when like
They're gonna need more children.
or yeah, they were like, we're going to need more crews to run all this, and so that's why everything was running off like remote, off that one Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know about that.
You've seen the movie 3 times. You don't remember that scene?
No, I remember the scene. I just don't know. I don't know if it was completely unmanned.
I think they were on like skeleton crews, and that's why like.
Oh, maybe yeah,
like,
but
that fleet was like not shooting at all.
One second. Hold on. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be very. Hey, Chris. Hold on. Hey, we're recording an episode of the podcast right now, and we're doing nothing but talking about Star Wars.
Outstanding.
Oh, so you can listen to this later, and you can hear yourself.
Outstanding. All right, good job, guys.
All right, love you, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, see ya.
All right, sorry. He was calling me to talk about Star Wars. I
thought you were asking him the question about the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, I thought you were too.
I thought you were phoning a friend right there.
No, he was calling me because we've been texting about Star Wars because he's one of my best friends. He's who I went to the wedding in Florida for. So, all right, let's move on. All right, so there's all the Star Destroyers, and he's told to go find and kill Rey, who is continuing her Jedi training under General Leia Organa. Which, okay, awesome on this movie. They talk about how badass Leia was.
Yeah, I feel like they really fleshed out Leia in a really nice way, which was shocking considering how little content they had of her to do this movie.
So the thing is, and this is what this was mind blowing. I was thinking about this like the other night. So none of that was CG of older Leia. I mean, the young stuff was, but none of that was CG.
That was like all deleted scenes for the most part from Force Awakens, right?
I believe so. They called it archive footage, so I don't think it was CG'd.
No, well, that was the thing. J.J. Abrams made a big deal, or like he said, I'm not going to do CG on her. I'm going to use archive footage. So what the flying frick were they going to do in The Force Awakens with all of her lines? Like, what was going to happen back then that they recorded all of that?
I think there might have been scenes of like her starting to train Rey beforehand, and they cut it or something.
That's the whole. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Is like, it's weird because it feels like they're just like writing this like day by day. Like, like if you think about it, like all this stuff that Leia talks about. I mean, Leia. I'm trying to think of some of the things that she would have said that would have made no sense in Episode 7. Number one, she talks about Palpatine being back. So they were willing to, yeah. Like, yeah, because that was one of the things she was talking. Because I mean, she was in scenes, unless they did really great editing and cut things together really well. She was in scenes that talked about Palpatine being back. And then she was training, or she knew about the Jedi training with her, and she's just like, I'm really tired. And she says, and she even responded to that. I forgot exactly what she said. Whenever Rey didn't finish the training course, she said, I'm just really tired, is what it feels like. And she's like, well, what well, what is it? Not what does it feel like or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Mhm.
But yep, so she's going through training. Sorry, I just want to keep moving forward. And then Finn, Poe, Chewie are they're going to see the spy. Oh, that's another thing. There would have been a spy in episode 7 too, because she talks about the spy. Leia does. But there's a First Order spy confirming Palpatine's return. That's where she mentions Palpatine. Rey discovers notes in Luke Skywalker in Luke's Jedi text on a Sith Wayfinder that will lead them to Palpatine. Then Rey, Poe, Finn, Chewbacca, BB-8, C-3PO depart to Pasana to seek the Wayfinder, while R2-D2 stays with Leia. I thought that that was one of the funniest scenes, and I know a lot of people don't like some of the comedy in the new ones because it's very jarring when it comes to the storyline, because it kind of pulls you away from the seriousness pretty fast. But
this one, they did a good job with it.
Yeah, there's a couple times whenever there's one coming up that we'll talk about, but this one, whenever she's like, no, I need to go alone, and they're like, yeah, with friends. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious. They did a great job with some of the
I was just thinking of how like Poe is just like pissed off at C-3PO the entire time. Poe's like always annoyed with C-3PO and is like, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Well, I thought that it was pretty good because like it just showed Poe being pissy all the time. And even whenever they got back from whenever they landed right then, even she's like, she asked Finn, in a bad mood? And Finn's like, yeah, always. But so they land on Pasana, and they run into freaking Lando Calrissian. That was an amazing addition to the cast. Or like a recall.
The Space Burning Man of all places.
Dude, so I was like watching it, and the whole time
that was a cool scene.
I was like, Jess, it's like Burning Man. It was great. And then it was funny whenever Lando showed his face, I actually like screamed in the theater. I was like, yeah! I was so excited.
It wasn't his mask.
I was surprised he got revealed so early.
Well, one of the things that if you don't know this, one of the cool things is J.J. Abrams, I think even in the prequels and in the sequels, they all mirror the same pattern in their storytelling. You've got like the first of the series is the meet the new character, and we're unsure of who the parents are, and like even to that part where like we're not sure who's Ray's parents are. We're not sure who Luke's parents are. We're not sure who Anakin's parents are, like, or who his dad is, like all the, like you've got all this stuff, and it all like all these story parts trickle through. But one of the cool things is in episode 6 and episode 9, which is the last story in each of the trilogies, very early on, you've got Lando dressed as someone else, or like in disguise, and like exposing himself. And even that, the costumes are very similar.
That's where I was about to go. This wasn't the mask like very resembling of episode 6.
Very, yes. Like it was easy to. I kind of, when I saw it, I was like, Lando, and that's why I freaked out. Because like you see it and you're like, that looks like Lando in Jabba's palace.
I'm surprised they didn't reuse it, because they reused it in Solo, if you remember.
Reused what?
That disguise from Jabba's palace. They had that in Solo as well.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, that disguise, Lando actually kills the bounty hunter and takes it.
Oh.
That's an actual bounty hunter's outfit. So, but then let's see. They run into Lando,
Pasana, and then they have to go find that ship, right?
Which is I forgot the name of. He was a Jedi hunter. So after after Order 66, there were people who were actually hunting the Jedi down. That was one of the big things. And they there was
has that character been introduced before?
No.
So that was a new character. So they didn't like reuse like Cad Bane or one of those guys.
No.
Right. No, they didn't reuse any of like the old bounty hunters or anything like that. And so Rey makes a comment that she's seen the ship before, which later on we find out is the ship her parents were taken on. So we're spoiling the actual spoiler alerts. But it's really interesting because I don't really remember what the ship looked like in episode 7, which I'm guessing that's what it looked like. But
you only saw the engines.
right.
And so you were always like, people were like, oh, is that an A-wing? Is that a this or is it this? Because it's just like
Or
two engines.
Yeah, I think it would look kind of close to an A-wing. So they go and they fall into this like quicksand stuff, and they go under. And this is where we find out about force healing in the movies, because they find this giant serpent, and it's funny because C3PO yells "Serpent, serpent," which didn't he yell that before? Yeah, no, maybe.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I just got big Harry Potter vibes from this section.
Yes, very.
What? Oh, but just because there's a big snake?
Big snake in tunnels.
Let's see. But there we find out about force healing, and also, what else was there? What else happened in that? You guys help me. I can't
That was when they're falling. Finn goes, Rey, I need to tell you something, which is supposed to, and then like Poe's calling him out on it the entire time. So they're hinting, is it? I mean, I've heard two theories on it. I've heard he's in love with her, which is something I feel like they've kind of been setting up. But then there's like everyone kept talking about like he's later in the story, Finn's like has like force intuitions. And so there's the thought of he was like trying to say, I might be a Jedi, is the other theory floating out there. But I don't know, which one do you feel?
I'm leaning towards feelings.
Do we lose Diaz?
I was reading something and I didn't hear that.
Someone else was talking,
What?
so we just lost Diaz's attention span completely.
No, I was trying to look at the serpent thing. I got distracted. I'm sorry. And
You're
then I
looking
got
at the
into
basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets?
No. I was trying to see if C3PO has ever yelled serpent before. Because I had deja vu when I saw it.
Space snakes.
So what are we doing about feelings? Are we talking about our feelings?
No, we're talking about Finn's feelings for Rey on if that was what he was actually going to tell her when they were falling into the quicksand.
I honestly don't think it was that.
Okay.
I think
That's where I went at first, and then
I did, but then something else happened later in the movie that made me kind of think otherwise. Throughout the movie, Finn shows signs of having the Force because he has feelings about things, and they're right usually. So I think what he was going to tell her was that he thinks he might be Force sensitive or a Jedi.
don't you love when someone says what you said like 5 minutes later as if it was their own idea?
I told you I wasn't listening. At least I was honest about it. I mean, I could have just played it off. Like, that was it. That's what I feel. That's what I think. So I agree with the thing you said 5 minutes ago, Scott.
That he didn't hear.
That I didn't hear because I was looking up different conspiracy theories on Reddit.
That's no moon.
Turns out. Oh, also, whenever Lando said, "I've got a bad feeling about this," I was like, "Yes, throwback."
Is that in every one of the movies now?
It's in pretty much every one of the movies
I believe so, yeah.
because it was originally said by
Han.
Han Solo.
Asteroid Field?
I've got a bad feeling about this. Or when they get pulled in, or when,
no.
when they see the Death Star.
Wasn't
When
it
they get
Trash
pulled in?
Compactor?
I think it's been in every movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the prequels, but at least in the original and the sequels, I believe it was in every single episode. Because we've always got a bad feeling about this. Also, another throwback that it's later on, but I have to say it before I forget. whenever Ben looks at Han and says, and is about to say, I love you, and he stops him and he says, I know. Ah, killed me. About cried. It's great.
I feel like I missed that one part for some reason.
I think I missed it too until I was watching an Easter egg video and I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, I saw that the first time and I was like, oh shit. Because that's one of my favorite things to watch on the sequels is the comparison to the original trilogy and finding the throwbacks. And also, I mean, there's just so much. That's like, you guys know the medallion that they give, that Maz gives Chewie at the end of the movie?
That was from episode 4.
Yep.
Was it episode 4?
Yeah.
No, it was from episode 6 whenever they get their
medals at the end of episode 4 in the throne room scene on Yavin 4.
Was it 4?
Yes.
I need to lay off the jazz cabbage. All right.
Been doing too much spice lately, haven't you?
Oh my gosh.
You want some
I'm
death
trying to
sticks?
keep up with Robert Keeley.
Actually,
Well,
that leads us to the next planet.
Tis the season.
All right, so they find the ship. Oh, and then there's the whole Force Lightning thing. What do you think of that?
Okay, really quick, before the Force Lightning, we do have to mention that they found a dagger that has Sith text on it that shows where the last Wayfinder is, but C-3PO's programming forbids him from interpreting because the Senate, or
I
believe
think it's the New
Senate,
Republic Senate, right?
Yeah, was it the Senate or the Republic? That's what we got.
It might have been the Republic, but it was some group decided that any cyborg or robot can't translate Sith. But all right, so seeing that Kylo Ren's nearby, Rey goes to confront him. First Order captures the Millennium Falcon, Chewbacca, and the dagger. Rey, attempting to save Chewbacca, accidentally destroys the First Order transport with Force Lightning. So that was one of the first very, very big clues of what's going to be revealed in a little bit. So remember that, Force Lightning. It's Ochi's ship. That's the guy. That's the name of the...
Did Rey ever get hit by Force Lightning in Last Jedi? From like Snoke?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Because I thought it's canon.
Did Snoke have Force Lightning?
Yeah, I thought it's canon that you can't use Force Lightning unless you've been hit by Force Lightning before.
Off to Wikipedia we go.
Yeah.
I don't know about that
Wikipedia,
one.
I should say.
So who was the first person to Force Lightning?
I don't know. It's been around for, I mean...
Well,
That's
what came
he
first,
used
the
it
chicken or
was.
the egg? What?
But
So
it's
the
like a
first
power
person
that
to
not
use-
everyone can do. Like, well, so like Vader couldn't do Force Lightning because of his suit.
Right.
Dooku did. Obviously Palpatine.
Mhm.
Darth Maul, I don't.
I
think
never
ever
saw
did.
him. I didn't see him in the movie. I don't know about
Oh, I don't think he could do it even in like the expanded universe stuff of Darth Maul. So
because he wears gloves.
does he? His skin
Yeah.
is like tattooed black, so I don't know. Anyway,
I would assume he wears gloves.
all right.
All right.
You probably
So
can't do it. Tattoos.
everyone thinks Chewie's dead. Okay, so I do have a gripe about this movie. If you're gonna be dead, just stay dead. I'm tired. Like the whole movie, there's like 78 revives. It
Yes,
was
the whole
absolutely
thing of the movie is nothing is gone forever.
Yeah, which is annoying as hell because Palpatine came back, Chewbacca dies and comes back.
Yoda came back.
In Last
No.
Jedi. Force Ghost. I mean, so
No, I'm not
my
talking
only
about Force
gripe with
Ghost.
this is actually
yeah.
I didn't mind the whole blow up the transport, but Chewie's not dead thing. I actually didn't have a problem with that. What I did kind of mind was like they kind of gave it away too quickly that he's still alive.
Oh yeah, it was like 5 minutes
Yeah.
later.
They could have skipped that whole thing and they could have just gone on the ship and like bumped into him and be like, "Wait, you're still alive?" You know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I thought it was really good the fact of it was showing how strong Rey's becoming in the Force because she could sense Chewie was alive.
Was that when they were on the other planet?
Yes.
Okay.
So they get
So they gotta like hack C3PO, right? So that he
Yeah,
can translate.
yeah, they're on Kijimi, and they have to find Zoral Bliss, or is it Zorly Bliss or Zoral? I can't.
Isn't it Zori?
Zori
I think
Bliss.
it's
Yeah, which okay, I have to say, absolutely hilarious character, great character. I thought I loved the character.
Wait, are you confusing Zori Bliss with the little
No,
mechanic?
oh yeah,
thing?
no,
Because
yeah,
Zori
yeah. What's the little-
Bliss was Felicity's
oh, that's the
character.
girl.
Yeah.
That's
Carrie
which
Russell.
is Carrie Russell. Yeah, you know what? Absolutely impressive with Carrie Russell. That all you have to do is see her eyes and you know it's her.
Yeah. Well, and
I
actually,
thought it was-
if I'm not mistaken, some of the scenes with her is a body double.
Hey,
Like she's not actually like there
Kylo, shut
because
up.
she's wearing that helmet the whole time.
yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't notice her because of her body. I noticed because of her eyes. Her eyes are up here, Scott. But
Thank you for making me sound like a complete pig. No, I want
Well-
more. I want more scenes with her in the movie. Just like she's a good actor. She caught your attention.
oh
And
yeah,
like
and,
like
well,
her whole like her get up and everything. I was like, oh, there's more to her. There's going to be side stories of like her and
oh
Poe.
yeah, oh yeah.
that-
There's gonna be if they do. Are they doing a Poe movie?
I don't know.
Well, if they do a Poe movie, you know she's gonna be a character in it.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of those areas that like I think I'm going to appreciate more once there's more like expanded universe. Not like in the movie, it felt rushed through
What's
because there's
that
just like
character's
there's
name?
like the hinting at like Poe's past and all that kind of stuff.
What's that guy's name?
the one that worked on
Yeah, the one that worked on C-3PO.
Crazy Russian Hacker. I think it's his YouTube.
Oh, not Zori. Who was the guy? What was the little guy's name?
Wasn't it like Bobby something?
Yeah, like Bobo Fritz.
Bobo? Yeah, that's it.
it.
That guy was hilarious. Just the way they
Yes.
made him talk. Just every time, it just sounds like a baby is talking at you.
Well, it's kind of like the Gremlin thing,
Yeah,
where it's like they're saying like some words, but you know what they're like talking about. I absolutely, and he was just hilarious. Like whenever he shocked you, like oh yeah, like he did have that like drunk Russian thing, and like it was really good. I think they did a really good in this episode. They did a really good job adding small characters, but it not being like
overbearing.
it's not Jar Jar.
Yeah, they've done a good job generally in the entire series with that. Like the only thing they probably overdid a little bit was the Porgs.
Those the little guys on the island.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they showed them in this episode, but it was like really quick, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, that was a little too much. They tried to do the cute little. They did the Ewok thing again. I was like, no, but they learned their lesson, I think. So they sent,
I don't think they learned their lesson because I'm pretty sure Porg toys sold like crazy, which is exactly the point of them.
well, they learned a good lesson then.
Do it again.
So, yeah.
Do it.
So Rey finds the dagger and has visions of Ochi killing her parents with it. So she even says horrible things have happened with this dagger, and she sees that that's what killed her parents. Kylo tells Rey she's Palpatine's granddaughter. That happened after they had a really kick-ass saber battle, but because they're connected via the Force. They were in two different places, but they get to fight each other. It's really cool. So it's been something that's built up, and now that Rey's really powerful, they're able to actually have combat through being connected, which is absolutely insane. Like she was in his quarters, and it was all white in there, like really like glossy floors, all this stuff. And she hit something while he was on the planet of Kijimi, and the stuff fell on the floor where she was at, but even though it was actually from Kijimi. So it was really neat seeing that. It kind of took shut up, Kylo. Sorry, I have a dog named Kylo if you guys haven't listened to the show before. But I just thought it was really cool to see what the Force can do. They're taking it and showing, because like
Can
4, 5, and
transfer matter.
6, 4, 5, and 6, you're like the Force was more of this like mystical, like hippie
Basic
thing.
telekinesis and
Yeah. And then you have the prequels where, they'd already they've already done the novels and the expanded universe and all this, but the prequels was like, it was George Lucas doing it all. So he did it his way. and made sure that like it stayed the way he wanted it to. But like there's still stuff like the midichlorians and all that people were bitching about, but they it like showed more what it can do. But the sequels have been absolutely amazing, showing what the Force can do. It's great. I love it. Thank you, J.J. Abrams. I never thought I'd say that. I feel a little sick. I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Okay, so they translate it. They find out where the thing's at.
Yeah.
They then hop aboard the Star Destroyer that we sort of hint at that now they're on the Star Destroyer. That's when Rey has her force fight,
Force
telekinesis or soul bond fight with Kylo, who is actually on the planet, and so they switch places. And there's this quick like, we know where they are. Let's chase them kind of moment. But they also, I'm trying to remember what Poe and Finn did other than rescue Chewbacca. Did they do something else on there?
Oh, that's whenever. Oh, so they rescue Chewbacca, and then they get caught.
Oh yeah, right.
And so there's another general. I can't remember his name, but he's been with Palpatine since. Was it General Yuri?
I think so.
Okay, so this general he's been a bad guy for a while. He was with
he was Empire before he was First Order.
Yeah, he was back with the Empire. He's served Palpatine for a long time. But they go in and they've got them lined up to shoot him in the back, Poe, Finn, and Chewie, and they've got them on their knees. And the best part, I love Poe and Finn are fighting about what Finn was going to tell Rey, because you can tell Poe's like, oh, when they even said it in the tunnels, he's like, oh, I'll tell you later. He's like, oh, what, when Poe's not around? And Finn even made a joke because we found out that Poe's awful shady. Since he's kind of the Han Solo comparison, he's, done some shady stuff. He used to be a spice runner, which makes me just think that he sold weed. But
he didn't sell it. He drove it and outran the cops.
He outran. All right. Well, I'm going to be a spice runner. But
NASCAR.
Well, NASCAR, pretty much.
That's how NASCAR started.
Well, that was they're running alcohol.
Souping up their. Yep.
All right, look, I've seen Talladega Nights. Okay, I know how. Don't try to sniff these Lucky Charms.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna try to duct tape some Lucky Charms to the underside of your car and outrun the cops?
Yeah, that's it. But
Chip,
shoot.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
I will scissor kick you in the back of the head, Chip. Anarchy. I don't know what it is, but I love it. All right, we're doing Talladega Nights next. We're just gonna yell random quotes. Chinga! All right. So Hux reveals himself to be the spy. He allows them to escape on the Falcon, and he's like, shoot me in the arm. So Finn shoots him in the leg. I don't know why, but okay. And so they find out the other general, we'll call him, what do we call him, Yuri?
Pride.
Oh,
That's his
Pride.
actual name.
Okay, General Pride is like, he kills him. He kills Hux.
Like
he
on the spot, like no look.
Like no joke. Like, and you could tell, number one, Hux is always, I've hated him as a character.
He was always the whiny guy that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
but like in Force Awakens, he was at least had like some clout, and now they destroyed him in the Last Jedi,
yeah.
like right
he
away.
became a whiny little brat. That's all he was a whiny little brat. But which is fine because all Kylo was a temper tantrum thrower.
Every Skywalker's been.
True.
But I want to go to Tashi Station and get some power converters.
Why can't I join now? All the other kids are going. All right. So let's see where are we at. All right, the group arrive on Kef Bir, which that's the moon off of Endor.
Did it? So okay.
So the second Death Star explodes.
Yeah.
And part of it lands on that moon.
Okay, but originally it was never Endor. It was the forest moon of Endor. Did they just finally name the forest moon Kef Bir?
No, it's.
Or is it a different planet?
No, that's a different moon. It's a different moon.
Okay.
If that's where you're going, yes.
Yeah, no, it's a different moon because the forest moon of Endor was forest. This one is like waves and weird. It's like
Like
Yeah, but,
ocean
like,
and plains.
That big of a chunk of metal falling from the atmosphere and landing on a planet with normal gravity would like catastrophically. It would be like an atomic bomb going off, right? And like just level everything around it. So
we're literally
And create a
arguing
crater.
about something that happened in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, and we're talking about the Force and
I know
Star
we're
Wars.
talking about space wizards with laser swords. I know.
I'm just saying, Scott. It's like, yeah, but you're all right. It would completely it would change the orbit, and I mean the biggest thing is it would just change the entire ecosystem. So maybe at once that was a really like nice beach planet, but now
Yeah, they've talked about that of how the Death Star was changing the ocean. I don't remember if they mentioned it in the movie, but
Like
every other
those
video
waves
is-
weren't there. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
is it supposed to give you like there's an evil there now versus before?
Yeah. So, yeah, take that, science. All right, so there's Jana, who's a resistance sympathizer, leads them to the remains of the second Death Star, where Rey locates the Wayfinder. Which this is a very short version. So what actually happens is, it come to find out that these people that help them are ex-stormtroopers. They were told to kill women and children, and they refused, and so they left and landed there pretty much. And then so Finn, so the reason this is right here is a reason where I don't think I have feelings for Rey is the thing he was going to talk about, was because you saw he had an instant connection to her, but I feel like if he was in love with Rey, not like a sister love her, but was in love with her, that wouldn't have happened.
And the whole argument of, oh, it's the second woman he's ever met falls out the window because, Rose. But anyway.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of women on that base.
Yeah, we'll
But-
talk about that part later. Remind me of that one.
Oh, yeah, there was one. Never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about it. We already know what it is. So
You don't wanna get-
they get there.
Never mind.
What, you
not
don't want to talk
talking-
about Carrie Fisher's daughter?
Was that Carrie Fisher's daughter in that
I don't-
in that kiss? I thought it was an older woman.
Oh, that one. I don't know.
No,
I don't think it was.
the added same-sex kiss.
Yeah.
Well, not added. I'm not saying added. It was.
Disney's ruining Star Wars with its woke politics.
No, well, I wouldn't say that. I feel like it was kind of.
It was forced.
It was kind of forced, just because we haven't seen that, and I understand that the times they are changing and all that, but I feel like at that point, it wasn't needed for the story.
It didn't do anything other than just give it a talking point.
Yeah,
But I mean,
But-
that's been happening in a few different movies too, where like it would be like if you want to have representation, it should be a main character. Right?
maybe. I feel like they're trying to get it they're trying to normalize it, which I'm not like throwing a fit about, but I think it's going to feel kind of forced at first.
I mean,
And this was a very big stage for it to be on.
yeah. I mean, they Endgame had a thing about it too, and yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on. Let's see. So they get there. Rey locates the Wayfinder. Whenever she does it, Sith Rey comes out.
Yeah, she
And-
has her like dark side tunnel moment,
Yeah.
or like another one, because she had a Force vision on Noct 2 when she was with Luke
Mm-hmm.
Skywalker too,
Well, one of the things is it's with her. I mean, it's borderline genetic. Like she is drawn to the dark side, but especially with her having almost no guidance until late in her life, kind of like was the issue with training. I mean, even it was brought up with Anakin. He was so old when they found him, and same goes for Luke. Was a lot older when they found him.
But that has much more to do with like the way the Jedi arguably like indoctrinated young children to have no feelings.
Right. Well, I wouldn't say they. Well, not no feelings, but they didn't.
No attachments and those kind of things. So like because
Yeah.
Anakin had attachments to his mother because he wasn't taken from her when he was a baby, he was untrainable. That was the whole argument, right?
Yeah, well, and they've had too much time with and they've had, like you said, they've had a lot of time with their emotions and their feelings, so Rey would give into them quite easily. But she shows up and she does this. She got this like force saber thing, or like this this staff saber.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah,
Well, it's
that
like,
was
it's double bladed, but it has a hinge, so it swings out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was cool as hell. Like, and so Chris, the guy who called while we've been recording, his thing was he wanted her saber to be somewhat of like a staff, which that kind of is, in my opinion. I think it kind of falls in that sense.
You'll get to that at the end too. There's
There's
yeah.
theories about the lightsaber at the end.
Yeah, because it's made from her staff. But that was really cool. And I don't know, it didn't even look like her.
Well, they gave her like monster teeth.
Oh, they did the sharp teeth thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled a Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, that was kind of creepy. Jess just texted me. She's in a realm of hell, and she's going shopping today.
Oh, my sympathies.
I just said love you because I got home today. I was like, "What are we doing for like Christmas dinner?" And she's like, "I don't know." I was like, "We should probably discuss this and do something." We really just have had no time to plan anything. All right, but let's get back on this thing. So we're talking about the sharp teeth and everything. Did we get past that?
Yeah, so we can keep moving
Kylo
the
shows
story.
up?
Yeah, Kylo shows up on the Death Star now.
Oh, total douche move. Totally crushes the Wayfinder. He's just like, you ain't getting there without me. Like, that's like abusive relationship material right there. It is not healthy, Rey.
Yeah, Rey needs better boundaries in her relationships.
Yeah, we just need to be like, girl.
We'll talk about that later.
You don't need no man. You a strong, independent woman. You don't need no help from no man.
Do we need to have another Dr. Phil moment?
Yeah. Rey, what are you doing? If he's still stuck on his mom, he killed his dad. There's something wrong here. Oh my gosh, I'd love to see a Dr. Phil episode with the Skywalkers. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine like an SNL skit for that? That'd be great. I gotta call Lorne Michaels. All right, so they go there. He destroys the Wayfinder, and then is like, "Yeah, no, help me. We're gonna kill Palpatine." And she's like, "No, this is stupid." And they fight, which they have a really cool fight. One of my favorite things that happened was right at the beginning of the fight. So they get outside of the Death Star, and they're fighting, and there's waves crashing because of the way this place is, and Finn runs after them. There's Rey, and she force pushes his ass away. And she's like, she's like, nope, bam, and then he goes flying towards that girl. And then they do a bunch of force jumping. They're fighting. It was a really great. I thought that was one of the best. I mean, that's up there with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul.
And also, there's a little bit of a callback to Episode 3 that it's a fight in a precarious situation, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not lava; it's giant tidal waves now. But it was a cool
Right.
set piece.
And they did a really cool thing. One of my favorite things they did with the Force was they were fighting. Rey swung her saber at Kylo, and he used the Force to stop it. And if you saw, it started going wacky. The lightsaber did.
Oh,
You know how,
like
like,
how
on-
like when he like grabbed the blaster bolt out of midair, like it kind of acted weird, like that
Yes.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, kind of glitched. Yeah, so it did that thing. I thought that was really cool because it showed how powerful the force is and that it's actually causing a disturbance in the lightsaber. It's kind of like if you ever played The Force Unleashed, how you could have a lightsaber that was like kind of like how Kylo's is, and like it's not put together super well, so it doesn't follow a straight I'm trying to find the word, not design, but I guess kind of like a design. You know what I'm
It's
talking about?
glitchy.
Yeah.
right? Like-
So
It's kind of like that pedal from
plasma.
no, oh god, Ed Chu
Which
did.
one?
I'm trying to remember
Oh
the name
yeah,
of
the
it. I had
Kyber
one.
fuzz.
Yeah,
The Kyber fuzz.
yeah, where
Um,
it had the glitchiness tremolo circuit to it, which
Right. Very Kylo Ren.
yeah,
So they duel and probably really kick butt moment. I thought it was a kick butt moment. Leia, so she in another scene she like looks down, and then Maz says she knows what she has to do. Which I don't know why Maz knows that she knows what she has to do. Is she force sensitive?
Yes.
isn't
Okay.
Maz like super old?
Yes.
Like been around for a
that's
while.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, she's like ancient. She's kind of like Yoda. She got that like ages gracefully thing going on. Or actually, I guess he ages gracefully because he just looks old the whole time. Even as a baby, he looks old.
Don't
And
talk
then-
about Baby Yoda that way.
Baby, he's 50. He was a man. He had a beard. Back to Talladega Nights. I like to picture baby. I like to picture Yoda as a baby. But she goes and she grabs the medallion that Han got in episode 4, and she goes, Ben, distracts him, bam, Rey stabs him. Awesome. But don't worry, guys, because this is episode 9, and everyone who dies comes right back. So
He didn't die though.
or we think they die. They quote unquote are dying. They are in the process or are currently dead, according to everyone else.
It was a non-lethal blow.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, because she force healed them. So I'm pretty sure any stab through the abdomen area with a lightsaber should be considered a lethal blow.
Eh.
Seriously?
It cauterizes itself.
Yeah. Just pour some hydrogen peroxide on it. It'll be fine.
Take a salt tablet. Go for a walk.
Some Mexican mother's rubbing her little Mexican child Jedi's stab wound with butter. Oh, mijo, it'll be okay. Listen, I don't care who you are. If you have had a Mexican friend, you've seen them get burned or something, because we used to shoot bottle rockets at each other. I shot a bottle rocket at my friend, and his mom came out with butter and started rubbing it. I was dying. Oh, I'll never be the same after that. My last name is Diaz, y'all. Calm down. Quit being worried about it. So she stabs him, force heals him. Oh, he's back. And then she's like, I did want to grab your hand. Ben's hand. And he was just like, and at that point, I guess that's what it took, was her wanting to hold his hand.
At the end of the day, Star Wars, he was the hot girl all along. He just had to take off his glasses.
That's what it was. All right, so he gets up, or she leaves, planning to go to, I guess we think planning to go to Exegol using the Wayfinder, and then Kylo has a vision with Han Solo, and that's where he does a cool thing where he's like, Dad, he's like, I know. Kind of creepy, kind of like a Joe Biden thing going on, but still, it's okay. But it was just, it was really good. I mean, I'll give it to Harrison Ford. He looked pretty dang good. Maybe they used some CGI to make him look better, but it was a really good scene.
He looked better in this movie than the preview that I had before the movie for some other thing Harrison Ford's doing in like Alaska or something like that.
Okay.
Did you guys not have that preview?
Mm-mm.
What? No.
There's some
What
like
movie isn't it?
dog runs away to
Oh,
Alaska.
Pogo or something like that, or Tongo or Pongo.
I don't know what it was. I not gonna see
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Anyway.
they kept showing. I saw the Mulan preview, and if they don't have the old songs and they don't have Mushu, I ain't about it.
Yeah, I said that after the preview. I'm like, if there's no Mushu, I'm not going to go see it.
It
I want to
looks
hear
like this one's
Mr.
not
I'll make a man out of you. Let's get down to business. Sorry.
I think they had that playing in the background of the preview.
No, they had in the preview I saw. They in the background they had what was the When Will My Reflection Show, the Christina Aguilera song
Hmm.
that was playing, but it was like soft and slow or something, or like darker sounding. I don't know. Maybe it was.
Mulan way better than I remember it.
Dude, that's one of my favorite Disney animated movies.
I only think I saw it like once.
Oh man, that's a good one. Oh, you're missing
So
out.
according to IMDb, Cricket is going to be in it.
Okay, so it is going to
Okay.
be more of a remake of the old one because it seemed like this was like a completely different story.
Yeah.
little
Well, they
bit.
changed the names because it's not. What was her name? Like Pong or something like that, or
Yeah, it's not Ping. They've
Ping,
changed it
that
to
was it.
Pong.
yeah, Ping Pang, like Ping Pong. They're changing it to Pong from Ping.
Yes.
Okay,
Oof.
that's hilarious. You got ping pong. That's great. You can't make this stuff up. Come on, Disney. What are you doing? Now you're just that's kind of racist, Disney. Like,
Kinda?
oh, yeah, that's a whole lot of racist.
Okay.
Uh,
Or are we the racists for like finding a joke in this? But anyway,
Both. That's it.
yeah.
All of us, we all racist. All right, let's keep moving on to Star Wars. All right, so he throws away his lightsaber and reclaims identity as Ben Solo. I thought that was really cool. So Palpatine sends one of his Star Destroyers to destroy Kijimi as a show of force. Boom, blows up. I have to say,
So they have Death
the
Star
blo-
lasers on Star Destroyers now.
yeah, they've got every Star Destroyer is now like a portable Death Star. But I thought it was really cool. If anyone paid attention to the graphics on the destruction of that planet, Kijimi, it looked very old school. It didn't look like total CGI insanity. It was really cool. There's chunks flying off. It wasn't just like obliteration.
oh yeah.
They
was
did that
very
with Rogue
great.
One too. I think they really figured out how to make the Death Star laser a lot more interesting.
Believable.
Yeah.
It's not like it just went in like. I mean,
Not
because even in the
everything just
original trilogy,
vaporizes immediately because like I mean that's what they used to have to do is like they're setting off a firecracker in slow motion and that's their special effects. Now they can like have pieces and fragments coming off and
yeah, it was good. Props to the effects team.
ILM, good job.
So at the Resistance base, R2D2 restores C-3PO's memory because it did get wiped, and that was kind of a little small funny plot line or plot addition. That was great because he called what was the little guy's name again?
Dio?
No, what was or is
Oh.
it Dio Fritz or whatever?
Oh yeah, the little mechanic guy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or Babu Fritz.
Babu Fritz. Yep.
So Babu Fritz was one of the first people that C-3PO met when they restored whenever they like started him back up.
So it's like this is my oldest and like
This is my
greatest friend.
oldest. Yeah, it's my oldest friend. I was just like, that's the funniest thing ever. That was absolutely hilarious. And then because that's what he had introduced him, Babu Fritz, my oldest friend. But R2D2 restores his memory, which is really funny too, because he's like, R2, I'm going on a trip with Ray, and he's like, what do you mean we've already gone? It was really funny. But the Resistance follows Ray's coordinates because Ray heads to Exegol.
How did Ray get to did she take
No, they totally
Kylo's,
skipped a part. Yeah, we totally missed a part because she landed on the planet that Luke
he
was on.
destroyed the MacGuffin box.
The what?
MacGuffin. It's a term. It's a movie writing term. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. But like, Kylo destroyed the one on the Death Star, like the navigation
Right.
holocron thing.
But there's still the one in his
on his starfighter, right?
Yes.
So,
And
but we totally missed the part. Yeah, she went
Did
to the
Ray
planet.
steal his starfighter? Because didn't he take?
Yeah.
Didn't Ray take
No.
Luke's X-wing?
No, we missed a part. All right. So, after the battle between Rey and Kylo, Kylo becomes Ben again, and Rey actually goes to the island that Luke lived on.
Yeah.
And she blew up Kylo's starfighter, and was throwing a bunch of stuff in the fire, and she throws Luke's saber, and he grabs it, and he's like, "That's not the way you treat a Jedi's greatest weapon." And so they sit down and have a little chat, and he's like, pretty much said, "No, you got to go do it," because then he revealed that he knew she was a Palpatine, and that Leia knew she was a Palpatine, pretty much. And then it was like, well, no one even cares that I'm a Palpatine, so I guess I'm gonna go do this. So she goes, and she's like, I don't know how to get to Exegol, and he's like, everything you need's right here. So she runs, which I really didn't like Luke's character in this movie.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Did you like Last Jedi Luke though?
Yes.
Okay.
This Luke was more like trying to be like mystical. I was kind of, but
He's trying to be Obi-Wan.
Well, and that's the thing too. So I was watching it for the third time, and that was one of the things I wanted to focus on, was trying to find the positive in this Luke. And then, but the thing is, you got to. They don't touch on what happens between episode 6 and episode 7. And the story could be completely different, whatever, but there's a lot in the canon that could have happened. Even, there's the whole, Luke tangling with the dark side. There's canon where Luke actually trained under Palpatine, or one of his clones. He trained under a Palpatine clone and learned some more of the dark side, and he became really close to turning to the dark side and becoming a Sith, but I think Leia actually saved him. That's also why Luke started wearing dark in episode 6. One of the main things is, if you see a character starting to wear more black and more dark colors, they're turning bad.
And then there's the whole like Luke raged out on the Death Star.
Yeah.
At the maybe you'll turn your sister thing. There's the whole like, did Luke get powered up because he was using the dark side to defeat Vader?
Right. But there was a whole lot going on with that. But I kind of, when I looked at Luke's character in the original trilogy, and I imagined him trying to be an old wise guy, I was like, yeah, that's kind of what he sounds like in my head. Like, but I didn't care for the voice that Mark Hamill went with, which is kind of funny because Mark Hamill's a voice actor. Like, that's a big thing. He does the Joker. That's one of his big voices. I just thought I didn't care for the voice. I felt it was like too raspy. But he went on there. He talked to her, and then he's like, "Yeah, all the stuff you need's right here." And so she goes to Exegol, and C-3PO notices that Master Luke is sending a message because she's in his X-wing, which that's another throwback.
Yeah, they still call it Red 5.
Yep, they still call it Red 5. And also, Luke was able to lift the X-wing out of water, which he was also lifted it. I think, Yoda lifted it out of the swamp on Dagobah. So that was kind of like oh yeah, I can finally do it thing. So that was kind of cool. It even had it had very much the same look coming out of the water too.
And I think they played Yoda's theme for that part.
Did they?
I think so. I think that's what I heard.
But it was really cool for that throwback. But yeah, so she leaves, she sends a message, and they find out that it's Rey in Red 5, and they all start following her. And then what they decide is that Lando and was it Lando and Chewie?
Yeah, Chewie's back with Lando.
Yeah, so Lando and Chewie are going to take the Millennium Falcon and go get help, which is
like he goes back to the core worlds and like sends out a signal.
Yes, that was the thing. Go to the core world, send out a signal for help.
Yeah.
And then they go, and I'm trying to read this because I'm trying to remember exactly how it went. So, they really don't go into this in depth at all, do they?
Well, it's mostly an action set piece at the end there.
Yeah. So they pretty much they go. Ray goes in and sees Emperor Palpatine, and who are all the people watching? Are they just like
I think
Sith
they were
supporters?
Sith spirits, I think is
Or
what they
they're-
were supposed to be. Because they all
But
like
there's-
blew out when Palpatine died.
Yeah.
Well, there was they had guards there and everything. So pretty much they're supposed to do a ceremony. It's a ceremonial sacrifice for the most part. Palpatine is going to let Rey strike him down. When Rey does it, all of the past Siths will go into Rey, and she'll be the most powerful Sith. Like that's the whole thing. It's kind of like some weird Sith inbreeding. So they
Possession
do,
kind of thing, yeah.
huh?
Some possession kind of thing.
Yeah, for the most part. It's like, okay, now the rest of the gang, they go here and then they collect another one, go here. But so she goes there and she goes to strike him down. And in between what's going on, Ben has gotten onto Exegol and is going in. The Knights of Ren confront him. I think there's 6. He was the 7th. But they confront him and he's fighting him. He doesn't have a saber because he threw his away. And he's using the Force, which is pretty cool because he's doing like kind of kung fu stuff, hitting the Force, all this cool stuff. But there's a moment where she goes and she has to strike down, and they don't do the thing where they're looking at each other, but they jump back and forth between their faces. You can tell that's what they're going for, is they're looking like they're on the same page. Most kick-ass thing ever with the Force. Like this was just something that I didn't see coming. And it happened, and it just blew my mind. It was great. She puts the saber behind her back, and then it goes over to Ben, pulling it out from behind his back. They used their Force transfer, and she gave him, I think she gave him Luke's saber.
Did she keep Leia's? Is that what it was?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Okay.
I think because I kept watching, and I'm pretty sure that's how it ended up. And
I couldn't really tell the difference because they were both blue.
they're both blue, but I think I was able to. I think at one point he holds the saber up, and it's Luke's saber.
Okay. One quick backup question.
Yes.
Which generation Luke saber was that? Because didn't Luke have a green saber? And
Luke had
the
a green saber in
flashbacks?
episode 6.
That was Anakin's saber.
The blue
That
one was
was-
Anakin's.
Yes,
Because that was the one he lost
that.
in Return in Empire Strikes Back.
right.
So that's Anakin's lightsaber.
Right.
Luke
That
had a green
was
one
never told.
in Return of the Jedi, and
Right.
then in the Last Jedi, if I recall correctly, in that flashback scene, Luke has a green lightsaber again
I think
in the
it
flashback.
kind of
But when he
Oh.
rematerializes, he does his force projection. He has a blue one again.
I don't know. I honestly think it's just 2 different sabers that he has. So Luke built his own saber. That's the green one, and that happened, I believe, in his training in between 5 and 6.
Yeah, it was part of Shadows of the Empire,
Yeah.
even though that's
So-
not canon anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, he built that one, but I believe it's just kind of been accepted that he had 2, one of which is Anakin's, but it was also his first one that Obi-Wan gave him. Because this belonged to your father. This was your pappy's. If
Just
Star
shoot your
Wars was
eye out,
intended
kid.
He killed younglings with this one.
Listen. He slaughtered them younglings like they were little pigs. It was just insane.
Let's
we
not
should
forget that like Luke was a little murderer, bullseyeing womp rats in his T-16.
that was very close to being an Alfred Hitchcock movie. You're like, I've been shooting womp rats forever. They're like, they're endangered, you sick freak. What is wrong with you?
Well, I also like that, and they're not much bigger than 2 meters. 2 meters is 6'6".
That's how tall you are, isn't
That's
it?
how tall I am. 2 meters is a big animal.
So I would
Anyway.
hope you wouldn't miss that.
So like he's like going around shooting tall people. That's what,
Oh my gosh. I just, yeah, he was a little murdery, wasn't he? Dang.
He had serial killer kind of some. Anyway, he just needed a middle name. Like if it was Luke Jacob Skywalker, then I would be like, "Yep, that's a serial killer."
Luke Ray.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a farmer. Half the time he just stood outside and looked at the suns. Like,
I mean,
that's all he did.
If they turned the camera when he was watching C-3PO and that little Tatooine thing, you would have seen like the push pins and the thread and how he was laying out like the connection of the government. Yeah.
We got to find the YouTube channel that turns every movie into like a horror movie. Like, have you seen the Santa Claus horror movie? Oh my gosh, it's absolutely hilarious. I wonder if they did a Star Wars horror movie where Luke's a murderer. I still love the one thing that I've always thought was absolutely hilarious in episode 4. Number 1 was the fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi made the greatest joke ever. He said this precision and accuracy can only be that of a stormtrooper.
Remember Obi-Wan hasn't seen a modern stormtrooper. He only saw like clone era.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah, not Billy Ray and Bobby who's out there like, hey, you gonna kill some womp rats tonight? Yeah, let's go.
These are not the droids we're looking for.
These dang right, these ain't the droids we're looking for. I'm just gonna redo Star Wars and do country voices over top. I'm gonna get Spence Pepper and me and him are gonna do Star Wars. Dang it, that's your sister. Well, okay.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Hey, that ain't my pappy. What are you talking about? My pappy's dead. Sorry. All right. So, oh my gosh. So Ben kills them. They come in, and then Palpatine notices that they're a rare force dyad, which means they're connected. They're like 2 in 1. So he actually drains their powers, and he's rejuvenating himself.
Drains their life.
Yeah, it drains their life.
Not their powers.
Well, I'm sorry, their life. Oh, well, I was just reading
like
the
Darth Nihil style.
Okay.
Well, then whatever you're reading is wrong.
All right, so he's rejuvenating himself, and which I thought was kind of weird.
His finger.
Yeah, why didn't he go back to like before he was like shock faced?
So there's a theory out there
Okay.
that Return of the Jedi Palpatine was a clone.
Oh my gosh!
So what they killed was a clone of him.
And this is the real Palpatine.
This is the real Palpatine, who's like completely on life support because he's on like that robot like crane thing.
So he was on life support from the Mace Windu thing.
Oh no, that was a clone too.
Oh my god!
There's a theory that like he's been in hiding and he's just been sending clones out and controlling them.
Okay, but how would he have gotten electric faced?
So the argument is, so being a dark side user basically destroys your body because the dark side eats away at you.
Okay.
So that would explain why like the original Palpatine's like missing fingers and crap at this point. Like he's just deteriorating.
Yeah, and he's got
and he was doing some type of like force projection kind of thing to hide his appearance and make himself normal looking.
Okay.
In the prequels, and he just used the lightning face thing as an excuse to reveal his true form.
Okay. So then apparently, so that would bring up my next thing. All right. So he throws Ben into a ravine. He attacks the entire Resistance fleet with Force lightning, which that was cool. So, and I saw it with in the Big D, which has like amazing surround sound. That was freaking epic. You just hear and just
it was a
lightning.
Big sound effect for that.
That was amazing. That was a great demonstration of Palpatine's power. I mean,
that was
it's one thing.
Was almost overpowered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like how it's not wild lightning, like he's not hitting everything, he's only hitting ships that are Resistance.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So
Oh
he
wait, at
does
this
that.
point, did the new fleet show up before the lightning thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah, we forgot that part. So,
So like
just
every
like
ship in the universe shows up.
so like just like in episode 6, out of nowhere, here comes the. All right. Well, that wasn't episode 6. That was episode
You're thinking
4. Episode
Avengers.
4. I'm not thinking Avengers. What are you talking?
It's the
On your
exact same
left.
thing. Yeah,
Um,
it's the exact same thing.
Doctor Strange loopholes everybody in.
And then this one, it's what's his face, Chewie and Lando.
Lando. No, but they've already done this in Star Wars before, where out of nowhere a bunch of people come and help. So Poe.
I mean, there was a little bit of that in like Rogue One when all the rebels decide to show up instead of not.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. We're almost done with the movie, guy. All right. So they're getting their ass kicked. Here comes everyone. Even what's that girl's name? Carrie Russell. Zori Bliss comes, helps out.
Flying
They're
a
kicking some
Y-wing.
asses. She wasn't in a Y-wing. They showed a Y-wing, but she wasn't in it.
What was she in?
Another ship. I don't think it was a Y-wing. They showed one though. That was pretty cool.
Well, there's quite a few Y-wings in the movie.
There was a lot of vintage ships in the
Mhm.
re-show up thing.
Yeah.
They even had the Mandalorian.
Wedge Antilles was in it.
Wait,
Did you notice
they
that?
had? Yeah, he was in the Falcon, right? He was gunning in the Falcon.
He was. I think he was in an X-wing. It looked like, but they showed him, and it was really cool because it was just a random white-haired guy. I was like, "That's freaking Wedge, dude! That's awesome."
I thought he was in the Falcon for some reason.
No. Oh, and then what was the guy who's always with? He was with the rebellion. He was on at the base. He's the guy with the weird face, looks like a fish face almost.
Oh, that wasn't Admiral Akbar.
No. I'm not talking about Admiral Akbar.
Akbar's kid.
No. That's not the guy. Okay, he looks. I'm gonna say it. He looks kind of Chinese.
Are you talking about Nien Num,
Maybe.
the kind of mouse-looking guy?
What's his name?
Nien Num. He was on the Falcon in Jedi.
Yeah, that's kind of like a fish face.
I always thought he kind of looked like a mouse.
Mouse fish face. Yeah, he was on there.
Yeah, he showed up. I definitely saw the Ghost from Rebels there. I think I saw the Outrider. I thought I did.
So.
I don't know enough about the vehicles.
I'm pulling up the article I looked at a few minutes
I
ago.
think that scene's gonna be frozen, like paused and dissected once it's on video. Or
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people have already done it, and I think they've noticed the Mandalorian, the Razor Crest, Raven Crest, whichever
Razor
one
Crest.
it is.
I'd be surprised
it's
to see
in
that
there.
one, but
So yes, Ghost, the Crucible from Clone Wars. Who I don't know who Dash Rendar's
that's the Outrider.
Rendar is. Okay, yeah, the Outrider. They even noticed some prequel era and original series. So like the prequel one I saw was
Mother effing Jar Jar.
No, the original Alliance looking.
Oh my gosh. Hold on.
Like the
precursor.
Naboo Starfighter.
All right.
No, the precursor to the cruisers, the Imperial cruisers.
Oh,
Okay.
like the old like Guardian class, the pre-Star
The red and silver.
Yeah, cool.
So the Mandalorian, the guy says, "What's the matter? Are you a Gungan under there?" And he starts doing the Boss Nass voice. Sorry, episode 6 that was in. Yeah, it's whenever he was telling him to take off the mask.
It was the heist one.
It was
Bill
Bill
Burr's
Burr.
character.
Yeah. And he's like, "What's the matter? Are you a gun? Is there a Gungan under there? Is that why you don't want to take it off?" I think, or no, he might have done Jar Jar Binks' voice. But all right, okay. So all these people show up. Palpatine force lightnings the hell out of them, and then Rey, laying there, looks up into the sky, and she says the same thing she said during her training, where she couldn't get the Jedi to come to her. She said, "Be with me, be with me." And then all these Jedi voices came on. I heard Mace Windu, Yoda, Luke, Anakin. I thought I heard Shoot, who was it?
Qui-Gon.
I thought I heard Qui-Gon.
You did.
Okay. Who else did I? Who else was there?
Oh, everyone. Like
Yeah,
even
there-
like both Kenobis, like iterations. So like there's an Alec Guinness and there was a Ewan McGregor.
And,
And there's a couple from the
Anakin's in
Clone
there.
Wars that I didn't recognize.
Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah.
Bunch of stuff. Like basically every Jedi who's had a speaking part, I think, kind of found their way into that
Yeah.
like, moment.
it was great. And then she comes up, and he's like, "I've got all the Sith in me," and she's like, "I got all the Jedi in me, dude." Boom. So he tries to force lightning her, and she stops it with a lightsaber. And this is where
She starts Mace Winduing him back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just like wanting to yell at the screen, "Motherfucker, did you learn the last time? Stop! Just stop!"
Well, Mace Windu is the only guy who was ever able to do that because he could channel dark side energy.
But why didn't he just stop? He knew he should have known what was going to happen.
Well, it's
thinks
the
he
same
has
thing from
unlimited
Return of
power.
the Jedi. It's like he when Vader grabs him, he's now shocking himself, and he's like in a permanent loop.
You
Like
think
he's
that's what
locked
happened?
up.
It's like a ground loop. So
Yeah.
explain that to me. Like, explain. Okay, so if we would have used Star Wars, I would have understood ground loops a long time ago. So just imagine you're the Emperor and you're shocking someone, and then it comes back on you and you can't stop. Oh, all right. So she's doing that, and then like
She double sabers it, right?
she double sabers it
Yep.
and then pushes right back, and he destroys himself. And then there's a big explosion, blows all the Sith ghosts away. All the Star Destroyers start falling out of the sky. Everyone's happy.
Well, there wasn't one of those like he dies and like the whole army falls asleep kind of thing like in Avengers. It was like the tide of the battle changes now.
Oh, wait. Hold on. But it wouldn't be episode 9 without Rey dies. But don't worry. She comes back.
Well, she like faints.
Yeah.
Is
No.
she dead? Or is the argument she's dead?
I say she's dead because they're
I
stupid
think
enough to
that
do it
too.
again. I think she was no, because if she fainted, why would he force heal her?
If she was really going to
he-
die, she would have said McClunky first.
I don't get it, but okay.
You have Disney Plus now. Go watch the re-edited A New Hope that they put on that.
Oh no.
What does McClunky have to do with anything?
George Lucas added Greedo saying McClunky before he died. Out of no, like he re-edited the Greedo scene again.
Oh my gosh. Just why couldn't people just be happy with Han shooting you first?
Han's a good guy.
He's not. He's a scruffy looking nerf herder.
But he's going to be the good guy, and we knew he was a good guy all along. That's what Solo taught us.
No, he shot him first because he still was a smuggler. But all right, so yeah, we forgot about that because he had to bring her back to life, and then it's his turn to die. So he actually does die and disappears, which is like, oh, they kiss randomly, which was absolutely not needed. I'm sorry.
Fan service.
Like that was somewhat like Romeo and Juliet, like immature, where you're just kind of like, I just want to be like yelling, like, you don't even know him. Like, why are you making out with the dude? Like,
Because they've been
no.
connected by the Force.
It's still
Oh,
better
yeah, I'm
than
gonna say
I
you
Hate
can-
Sand, and they start making out. Just
Yeah.
okay.
I hate sand. But
I thought it was like, are we going Lion King with this? Are we gonna have like leaves and stuff blowing around?
oh my gosh. No, but like, it was completely not necessary to the storyline. It doesn't make it any better.
I felt like it was coming. Like you could feel like I was like, oh, are they going to
what
kiss?
she
Oh, they're
said-
going to kiss. Like there was definitely that feeling there. But
It
then
was
it was like,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
It was like straight up like kind of it was like no. It's like I'm pretty sure it's probably both of their first kiss, and then he dies. Like that's what you got to remember, right? And
Let's
then he
remember
died.
also how many Jedi have never kissed a girl.
Kiss the girl. Yeah, I didn't like it. That was a gripe I had. I was just like, though, it's kind of forced, kind of like Law and Order SVU style. You're just like watching, like,
What?
no.
No, it wasn't that bad. Come on.
Well, I'm not talking about like full on SVU. I'm kind of like maybe the preview, like, like I was waiting for a jogger to run by and be like, oh, yep, there's a dead body.
Okay, I have a point to make, but let's just finish the wrapping up the story here. Because, like, okay, so Ben comes, he revives her. There's the kiss. Then
She dies.
He force ghosts at the same time Leia force ghosts.
Yep.
Yes, which
So,
is
like,
pretty
there's
cool.
just been like a body under a sheet, and that was
Yeah.
Leia, and then it force ghosts and like disappears. So there's some type of like Leia died but was like living in him kind of element. Is that
Kinda
what that was
creepy.
supposed to be saying?
Does that mean that Leia kissed Rey?
Second lesbian kiss. All right.
No, well, technically that was the first, but the first forced lesbian kiss.
Also, that's an incestuous kiss, but I'll get to that later.
Because Leia is no, that's
Leia is also Palpatine's granddaughter.
what
That's
type
how
of
we're
going down
Kentucky
that
fucking-
road.
That's canon. The Immaculate Conception of
Oh my
Anakin is a
God.
result
Was
of
actually-
Palpatine. So
Yeah,
technically,
that's
Palpatine
right.
is Anakin's father.
Or is it the Force? Because
Okay, listen, I'm totally doing Star Wars country voice now because we're just getting even more Kentucky.
So technically,
Like,
technically
listen, I'm pretty
Ben
sure
is
Anakin
Palpatine's
had a
great-grandson then.
mullet at one point in this thing.
So it gets better. It gets better. We're now getting into Game of Thrones territory. Technically, isn't Rey technically the aunt? It's not really an aunt. It's like a third cousin or whatever of Ben, technically. And they kiss.
Oh, that's okay in Kentucky, so that might even be Arkansas illegal.
So
All
there's
right,
that, and then
stop! You're ruining it. You're ruining it.
I'm
for
trying to
me.
finish the story, buddy.
No, you're trying to talk about how their cousins sleeping with each other, like kissing cousins. No. All right, so listen. So they kill all the people. They all land, and at the
Resistance.
base. They go back. Everyone's happy. Bam! Lesbian kiss right in the face. Just
It's in the
That's what-
background.
yeah, it was in the background.
no, it wasn't. Those two were in the foreground of the. It's not like it just happened out. No, when it happened,
It was in a pan
was,
shot at the very most.
No, it wasn't panning. It was just like, oh, these people are still up. Yep, they're kissing. That's what happened. There was a shout out to the Ewoks. That was pretty cool. They watched
Yes.
all the stuff happen. That was neat. Let's see. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. So Ray lands on Tatooine at the Lars homestead. Owen and Beru's place. She buries the Skywalker lightsabers, both Luke and Leia's, having built her own. All right, let's talk about this lightsaber. It's made from her staff.
It's
Is it
made
the
to
end of her
look
staff?
like it.
Or is it
I-
like, so like, does she have like a staff and then two blades at the end, or is it like just the handle of her staff and now
No,
it
it's
has a lightsaber
no,
blade?
it's the end of the staff. So one end of her staff was like part metal, but there was wood, so there was like the wrapping around it. I've seen there's people who've dissected like the pictures of her staff and the lightsaber. The way it turns on is really cool. It's actually a rotary.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I thought it was really neat. I love it because it's keeping the door open.
Oh, there's going to be more lore and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Do you think they're, you know how they're saying like this is the last of this trilogy? Do you think they're going to come out with another trilogy like 10, 11 and 12?
I think Daisy
Yeah.
Ridley might have trouble getting any other job from here on out, so she's going to have to do another one.
Or she's going to have to go into voice acting like Mark Hamill did.
Yep.
So
And
Yeah, who
then
knew
a
Mark-
random person comes up to her and says, "Who are you?" And she
Second
says-
time in the movie that somebody did that.
And she says, "Rey Skywalker."
yeah, that listen, identity
So-
theft is not a joke.
She kisses Ben, and then takes his last name.
So is
Yeah.
that is
So
that
did
how
she,
you get
like,
married?
Did
in
she force marry
that
him?
world?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Assigned to
I
do on a
just-
tractor.
I still want to point out, in the end, Luke was not the brightest crayon on the box. 'Cause straight up, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if they mean old Ben Kenobi. Like, dude, it's the same last name. Like, go look for him and find out. What do you mean? I wonder if they're talking about old Ben Kenobi. Like, yeah, you're on a freaking desert planet. There's like 12 people in that current area. Like, what do you mean? I wonder if they mean it's old Ben Kenobi. Like,
Look, this was a
duh.
long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They did not have Google yet.
But he wanted to join the rebellion so bad. He wanted to go to.
He wanted to join the
Flight-
Empire.
Oh, was it the Empire?
He wanted to go to the Imperial Academy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's join the Empire. I'm down. I want. You know what I want for Christmas? A movie quality replica stormtrooper outfit. That's what I've always wanted. Just throwing that out there. if
Sorry,
anyone
I
wants
just
to buy
heard
it.
a play on the phrase where you'd wear it, and I go, "Aren't you a little fat to be a stormtrooper?"
Wasn't that from Family Guy?
Baby. Well, I mean, she says,
Yeah, that
"Aren't you
was-
a little short to be a stormtrooper in A New Hope?" Remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but in Blue Harvest
Oh, yeah.
for Family Guy, she goes, "Aren't you a little fat?" And when he's like, "Are you a little bit of a bitch?" Like he said. I can't remember what exactly he says, but it was great. That was probably one of my favorites too. Was the Blue Harvest episode
Oh,
of
back when
Family
like,
Guy?
we actually watched Family Guy.
Yeah, I've been watching some of the old Family Guy, and I forgot how great it is.
Does it hold
Well,
up? Because like you watch some old
yes.
comedy now, and it's just not as funny as it used to be.
Um,
Like The Hangover has not aged well.
the Hangover didn't even start well.
Fair.
I didn't think so. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, they made 3 of them, so
Let's see. Aren't you a little fat to be a stormtrooper? I gotta look that up.
all right.
She said, "Aren't you a little fat to be a stormtrooper?" He says, "Well, stay here and rot, you stuck up bitch." I'm sorry, that was great. That would be the end of Star Wars right there. He just leaves. He's like, "No, I ain't dealing with this crap." There's so much during what was it like at the beginning of the movie whenever he kills everyone and he gets the Sith Wayfinder and he goes finds Palpatine. I just turned to Tris. I said, "Yep, end of the movie, gotta go." Like that's it. They could have ended this a long time ago.
I thought it was interesting. Like Kylo, every time he's like, "I need somebody else to help me kill this dude."
Like if you're so BA, like why don't you kill him yourself?
And that's an interesting thing. Is like Kylo Ren always seemed kind of like a secondary dude.
Yeah. He was never. Yeah, he was always a follower. He wasn't a leader. Even Rey said, "Serving another master."
Mm-hmm.
She called it. Said, "You weak ass biatch," and then she kissed him because girls love douchebags. That's all we learned from episode 9. Douchebags get the chick, and then he even force ghosted on her. He's like, "I'll call you, don't call me," and boom, gone.
He didn't even show up at the end.
Oh yeah, I forgot where we were at. But anyways, I still think Kylo Ren's a douche. The only thing we learned from the movie was the douche gets the girl.
Yeah, he's kind of a loser the whole or insecure loser the whole time. And some,
Oh yeah, dude, he was even creeping on her the whole time. Like, how often did she go find him? No, it was always him going to find. Where are you at? What are you doing? Who's that with you? Dude, calm down. Give me my space. Like, yeah, he even went and ghosted on her after she kissed him. He's just like, yeah, think of you more as a friend. Deuces. And like goes. And then whenever Luke and Leia shows up, he doesn't even show up there. He's just like, she's like, "Where's Ben? He's not here. He's supposed to be there." And then the next episode's gonna be something about an illegitimate child. It's Kentucky. That's all it is.
So now we're space wizards with laser swords in space Kentucky.
In space Kentucky. Yeah. Think about it. Whole lot of. I mean, you have a brother and a sister kiss at one point. Yeah. I mean, according to some canon,
Maybe the Skywalkers are just one of those like families that just kiss on the mouth all the time.
it's so weird. Stop doing that, people. Not okay. He's 37. He's not a baby. He's not a baby in a manger anymore. All right, that's it. I've lost all ability to focus. All right, guys. So, if you haven't seen the movie, that kind of works. You just heard the whole thing.
How long have we recorded?
Long enough to have watched the movie.
Long.
Yeah, so I was gonna say,
looking-
I was like, at this point, you only have like 15 minutes left of the movie if you started it at the same time you started this.
Okay,
Oh my
am I
gosh.
the only person that's surprised this wasn't a 3-hour movie?
Yeah, it was.
I was
really
a little
How
bit,
long
'cause
was
it's
it? Like
what-
2 hours.
2:20, I think.
Oh, an hour and 42 minutes. Yeah,
It's a short movie, all things considered.
or 2 hours and an hour and 142 minutes. So 2 hours 22 minutes. Yeah, I figured it would be extremely long.
Well, because inevitably you compare this to Endgame, right? Like that's just how do you wrap up a story arc?
Really?
You wouldn't?
I compare it to like episode 6.
Endgame.
Is Endgame's not a fair comparison, other than the fact that they had
I don't-
22 movies or whatever to wrap up versus.
I don't know.
9.
I didn't. I don't know. That's interesting. My brain just never went there. Who knows? You have to be right. I could be wrong. It's
Like
happened before.
Endgame was super long.
Yeah, it was very long. Those
Which I
a lot of
think
them,
here we only have like 5 characters we're trying to wrap up versus 20.
but even then, most of these characters, their story arcs are all the same. Like
they're really
intertwined.
they're really one-note characters. A lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, Finn and Poe.
Poe
two
finally
characters.
got a little bit of character development. I guess Last Jedi had a little bit like how to learn to be a leader, but then like
Yeah.
Poe never wound up having to be the leader.
Oh, I liked when they were. I loved how he asked them to be like. He's like, I can't do this alone. I need your help. He's like, yeah. He's like, General. Like that was pretty cool. I feel like that's how friends would ask each other.
So yeah, I think my whole thing is to wrap up our thoughts on this whole thing. Right? Is
Okay.
one.
Scott, give us the wrap up on yours.
Overall, I enjoyed seeing this movie. I'm impressed they did with what they did with the story, considering where it was going in. I felt like they were kind of kneecapped a little bit to try to wrap up a story arc after what The Last Jedi did. And they actually did an okay job of tying in some of the themes from Last Jedi. So all the complaints I'm hearing about, like, oh, they completely threw it out, I wouldn't say that's what they did. The movie as a like cinematic storytelling piece is really a mess and rushed, and is just the movie goes at a breakneck pace, and like it's a movie designed to take multiple watches and have tons of side stories spun off of it, right, and support a whole collective
whole
universe of
universe.
storytelling. Yeah. Whereas inevitably you compare the way the Marvel movies were very self-contained and decided to say, okay, we have all this inspirational stuff, so we're going to draw inspiration from all these story arcs and manipulate them a little bit. Whereas Star Wars just said, all right, we have all this lore and we're going to throw it all out and start over again. So it inevitably those were different kind of strategies and things like that. I'm let down in the point of it still feels like a jumbled mess that doesn't have a coherent master plan over this trilogy and wrapping up the previous 2 trilogies.
I feel like it kind of. I agree with that. Like kind of like they're writing it day by day.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, your wrap up. Final thoughts.
I don't know. The entire time I was sitting in there, it was kind of a meh. overall, I was glad to see, the closing of a trilogy, but at the same time, like at the end of it, it was just like, okay, now what? Like it wasn't like satisfying in the way of like, okay, this is a good stop. It's like, what's next? Because I don't know.
Well,
It
because you also
I
don't
felt
really
it
trust them to be done.
No,
Yeah,
they're not.
there's that
there's way
too.
too much open-ended stuff. Okay, but I have to say, not even it. I thought it wrapped up it answered a lot of great questions.
It
I
wrapped
felt like
up its trilogy.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's not supposed to wrap up the entire like Star Wars universe.
I guess that's fair too.
But it's supposed to wrap up the
This
trilogy
story
of
arc.
trilogies. Because they
Yeah.
said this is the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yes,
So this is supposed to tie up episode 1 through 9.
yes, which it did.
Yeah, it wrapped up 7 through 9.
Yeah.
I don't.
The
'Cause it
whole
was
prophecy
supposed
of the
to-
one who's going to bring balance to the Force stuff, just it doesn't feel succinctly answered or closed.
What if Rey
Unless
was
it's
the one?
I was just gonna say unless it's supposed to be Ray.
But they didn't. They didn't talk about that at all when it came to 7 through 9. They did not talk about the prophecy at all.
Well, I mean, they didn't talk about it in 4 through 6 either because it didn't really exist in that lore, right? Like that was just something 1 through 3 was kind of supposed to talk about. Was the more
There is another.
there's more the
Yeah.
religious side of the Jedi in 1 through 3 that just disappears. Like they didn't decide to pick that back up.
Yeah. Possibly. Okay. I gotta say that the movie was, in my opinion, fantastic. I felt that it did wrap up a lot of questions were answered, and that it. So the breakneck pace that you talk about, I rather enjoyed, because it took us through so much. 2 hours and 22 minutes isn't a long movie, but it's not really a short movie either. And it sitting through it, I felt like you were constantly being pulled in. There was not a time, it didn't, like we talked about earlier, it didn't have that slow period where I'm like, okay, come on, let's get going. Let's get what's going to happen. That's going to be the catalyst. It was constantly going, and that was great. I felt that there were so many great nods towards the original trilogy and the prequels, that it was really, for someone who, I've watched Star Wars since I can remember, and it's always been like something that I've loved. It was really great to see some things wrapped up, and things that I've talked about for years. It gave an answer to, even though it's been answered in canon before, it hasn't been answered on the big screen. And one of the great things I think about the Star Wars extended universe is that it's kind of like with the Joker. One thing I love about the Joker is that pretty much every origin story becomes canon with him. Like they're all correct. You know what I mean? There's so many different like origin stories, and there's different things that happen with these characters that this is just another one. And I feel like if like the people who are upset that it didn't follow a certain story arc that they liked, that they're upset with it, I felt like it was a really good story arc. And I love that it does keep it open to the side movies, and it drops hints of a lot of cool characters that we get to look forward to.
Yeah.
So overall, we're gonna give it out of 10 score. I give it an 8.7.
Sorry, what did you say?
Out of 10, what do you give it? I said
What
8.7.
8.7 you gave it?
8.7.
So just is that a B plus?
That's a solid B plus.
That's a cusp of a B plus, but okay.
Okay, what standard are we going
I
on?
don't know.
Yeah.
Should we just use
Tennessee
GPAs?
standards.
0 to 4, unless they're ahead a year, and then they can be a 4.5 or a 5.
Okay, are we doing grade point average?
Yeah.
All right, it's a 3.9.
I would say for me, it's in a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Out of
was
10?
thinking somewhere between 6 and 7.
6 and 7. Damn, Chris.
But here's the thing, like
Cold-hearted.
this is concluding Star Wars, and like it's kind of one of those things of like anything short of a masterpiece is a failure, is kind of the bar that gets set for it.
Especially when you have trilogies ending like Lord of the Rings with Return of the King. Like you have everything that he packed into those 3 hours if you're watching the extended 3 or 4, and we get a 2.5 hour movie for
Well, in all fairness,
40
the
years of Star Wars.
the thing was fucking wrote for him. I mean, it's not like he had to come up with a storyline.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's one of my big critiques of the final trilogy is like if JJ wrote all 3 and like set the roadmap, maybe we'd have a more cohesive thing.
Oh
Or
yeah, because he
if you
came
have-
in at the second movie, didn't he?
Yes.
No, Ryan Johnson did the second movie.
Okay.
J.J. Abrams had something to do with all 3.
He gave like notes for the second one, but Ryan Johnson deviated. That's what the story is. But like they don't have like Marvel has Paul Feige.
Yeah.
And Kathleen Kennedy wasn't really that for Star Wars. And now it sounds like Paul Feige's getting involved in Star Wars, so we'll see if we start seeing more cohesive overarching themes. But like
Yeah.
there was so much potential that I feel like was still left on the table with this trilogy.
I just feel like I don't think anyone would be happy unless it was like a 5-hour epic thing. I mean, I know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and that might be part of it. Is like the TV shows in Star Wars people are loving, right? Because you have all that
Yes.
time to work.
Exactly.
And maybe the future is things like The Mandalorian, where it's these slow burn.
and that's just, and honestly, but the thing is I feel like kind of, you know how like everyone's kind of warming their hearts a little to episodes 1 through 3. I feel like I said kind of. We need to wrap it up. Have we been going for 2 hours?
Just under.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we got to
All
go
right.
to 222.
No. The mind is willing, but the body is weak. All right. So go watch it. Let's wrap this up. So I got a what, 8.7 out of 10. Scott with a 7 out of 10. Chris with a 6.
Go to the 6.5.
6.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomato score last time I checked was like 58%.
Says on par with mine.
Is that audience score or critic score?
I don't know. I didn't check.
Because I can
just
see where
said-
critics hate this movie, but fans love it.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've seen it 3 times. I plan on seeing it 9 times. I want to see episode 9 times in the theater.
I will be buying the Blu-ray. I will be watching this movie many times, and
Yes.
I will enjoy it watching again.
Very true. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on this very extended version of The Effects Loop. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/The Effects Loop. You can give us money. It's really awesome. Go to facebook.com/group/The Effects Loop, and you can join in there. Tell us how much you love/hate Star Wars, and you can follow us on our Instagram at The Effects Loop. See you guys.
Bye.
More Space Dragons.
Space Dragons. Laser swords.
Swords.
We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show 'em some love. There are many things that this world needs, but the most important one is unity. United we stand, divided we fall. Through the
the dictionary. Why is negativity always drawn out? Pictionary, visualize love, energize lives together. We undefeated. A plan to make weathers, no gloves needed. When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in a community that remains happy. Ever after, the world should be one. Hate annihilated, every heart is one. Love again. So
Don't buy the hate, don't separate. We're strong when love overcomes. Don't buy the hate, don't separate. We're strong when love overcomes. Don't buy the hate, don't separate. We're strong when love overcomes. Don't buy the hate, don't separate. We're strong when love overcomes. Don't buy the hate, don't separate. We're strong when love overcomes.
make the love flow, 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 make the love flow,
Are we doing a post credit?
I always
Well, we
do a
are now.
post-credit.
We're gonna go Marvel with it.
Okay, guys, it's time for my.
So it's gonna be a better
moment.
movie.
All right, guys, we got to do the intro. Shining moment.
5 minutes. You'll never get back. Title of my sex tape. Can I start the next section?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So this
I
episode.
just asked if I could start the next section,
Oh,
and you were like, "Hey, yeah," and then you just go like right into it.
fine. Start the next section. All right, everyone.